Welcome to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len Schroeder.
And I'm Julio Zamora.
On today's show, we're going to talk about adding houseplants to your home.
Now that the Christmas trees are out of the house, you may be craving a little green company.
Studies have shown that interaction with indoor plants reduce psychological and physiological stress. In fact, they have a soothing effect.
Ooh. Len and I will tell you how to get started and how to make any room a living room.
I've heard that before. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back in the garden right after these messages.
Bloomers in the Garden is brought to you each week by Bloomers Home and Garden Center. Bloomers is an award-winning garden center just 20 minutes from Philadelphia. Bloomers has been providing expert advice turning brown thumbs green for over 30 years. At Bloomers, we want you to ask us every question, even if you think it's silly. We share information in a friendly, non-judgmental way that is meant to teach and spread the joy of gardening. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center in Washington Township, Gloucester County. For directions, go to bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden. Fertilome's Triple Action contains 70% neem oil and 0.25% pyrethrins as a concentrate and ready to spray. It is an insecticide, fungicide, and miticide labeled to use on vegetables, fruits, nuts, herbs, spices, and ornamentals. This organic OMRI-listed product controls a wide variety of insect pests and diseases, including aphids, scale, spider mites, whiteflies, rust, leaf spot, and powdery mildew. This insecticide is an all-in-one bottle that will cure just about any problem you may run into throughout the year. Fertilome's Triple Action has been helping gardeners across the country for years. Best to apply in late evening and early morning hours. Mix 1 ounce, which is equivalent to 2 tablespoons in a gallon of water. The best part is Triple Action may be used up to the day of harvest. So the next time you are visiting your favorite garden center, ask for Fertilome's Triple Action and expect to have the best-looking plants in the neighborhood.
You're listening to Bloomers in the Garden Radio. Listen anytime through your favorite podcast provider or see and hear us by subscribing to Bloomers YouTube channel. Bloomers in the Garden Radio is heard in Philadelphia and throughout the whole Delaware Valley every Saturday. First, wake up with us at 6 a.m. on WNWR The Word at 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. Tune in at 8 a.m. to Bloomers in the Garden Radio on Talk 860 WWDB. A rebroadcast of Bloomers in the Garden Radio is played each Saturday evening at 5 p.m. on The Word, 95.3 FM and 1540 AM. On Sunday at 8 a.m., we can be heard throughout the New York Tri-State Area on Classic Oldies, 1250 AM WMTR. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the garden. Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. So, I had a real tree. It's real dead right now because I only watered it once. I did not take my own advice, but it's really cool that it was up and it was green. You know, it had a little bit of outdoors, indoors.
Sure.
You know, I had a little train going around it.
Oh, yeah, you did. Oh, that's
classic
but
it's time to take it down. Yeah, it is. But, you know, you get kind of bummed out when you take your tree down and, you know, you want to replace it. So I'm going to have this big hole in my living room.
A hole.
I am. It's you know, you have to move all the furniture out of the way. And so, but houseplants, you know, it's in one of those rooms that you like we were just listening to something about dining rooms and how nobody uses their dining room except for maybe 2 or 3 times a year. That this is one of those rooms. So I'm not going to put any plants there, but you may be craving, and this is our listeners, you know, you may be craving a little bit of that green living alive plant. Well, this was a cut tree, but still, that there are so many different reports about how plants improve our lives, and we're talking mostly house plants here. Let's see, the Journal of Physiological Anthropology. Ooh. Say that 10 times fast. The interaction with indoor plants may reduce psychological and physiological stress by suppressing all the automatic nervous system activity in young adults. Psychology Today reported that Texas A&M University published in the Journal of Environmental Horticulture. Spending as much time as possible in both natural settings and cultivating gardens can improve your mood, reduce the negative effects of stress, encourage physical activity, and other positive behaviors, improving cognition, reducing aggression, and enhance overall well-being in people of all ages under many different circumstances. Now, personal. I'm in the back office at work, and we have a garden center. That's where we work. But in the office, we don't have plants. They're all outside. There are times where the stress gets to be, and Mary Carr, you out there? Mary Carr was our bookkeeper, and she would know when things are getting a little tough. That I'd get up and I'd walk by her desk and she'd go, "Here we go, loop-de-loop." And what I was doing is I was doing a loop through the nursery, through the plants, just to come down a little bit and try to get a new perspective on how to handle whether it's personnel issues or other things.
And it worked, too.
It absolutely does. So the effects of stress and improved cognition and reduced aggression on some issues, that's for sure. But under stress reduction, spending time in natural settings helps speed up recovery from mental fatigue, and it slows down the heart rate, reducing blood pressure and lower anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
We call them house plants, but some people call them their pets, because it has that same thing as like a dogwood. And, get it? Dogwood? That's a plant joke. Yeah. Tip your waitresses. And that where, again, it's the same idea as like when you have a pet and you're hanging with whatever cat, dog, whatever term, a hamster. Anyway, that it reduces anxiety.
Let me just say a little. It's not with house plants, but my friend John, who lives in Philadelphia.
Yes.
When he comes over, he goes, "Boy, this is really tranquil here. It's so quiet."
There you go.
And because they don't have any trees. He sees the trees around my house. It's really.
And see, that's one thing. And in a Korean study, patients diagnosed with moderate to severe depression compared the effects of cognitive brain therapy. You hear that CBT thrown around like you know what it means. Yeah. So for those of you out there like me that don't know what that means, it means cognitive behavioral therapy. Lay on a couch, tell me your feelings. And so if it's performed in a hospital compared to being performed into like an arboretum with like a forest-like background setting, the symptoms of depression were most significantly reduced in the arboretum group, who also experienced 20 to 30% higher rates of complete remission when compared to a typically medicated group.
Wow, that's pretty big.
And stronger memory retention. Compared to those who walk through a well-trafficked urban area, the participants in several studies who walk through green space or a natural environment, such as an arboretum, were better able to focus and concentrate on the test of their working memory.
About that.
I mean, it's huge. That's huge. Like we tell you to go visit an arboretum, it's not just to see it with your eyes and look pretty, it's to go to feel better. So fewer symptoms of post-traumatic stress. Studies of both veterans and victims of natural disasters who participated in horticultural therapies. Horticultural therapy, but those of us, there are listeners out there, horticultural therapy is actually a thing. It is a part of, basically, it's psychology department will have a department that will be versed in horticultural therapy. So just look for it by a university near you. It is very specialized, and this is why they do it. Because those that participated in the horticultural therapies or nature-based rehabilitation programs found that both groups were better able to control symptoms of PTSD and develop more positive states of mind. Now, this is big. I mean, I don't know. My kids are all older, but it was like every kid got Ritalin. I went to the guidance counselor's office, and I was like, you just talk to your doctor. Maybe you have ADHD. So here's something. In one study, school children diagnosed with ADHD were better able to concentrate after a walk in a park than their peers who went for a walk in like a downtown neighborhood. Similar studies found that even short nature breaks are restorative and can improve attention span, working memory, and cognitive functioning in children with ADD and ADHD. Higher productivity in neighborhoods. Similar studies found that even short nature breaks, it goes hand in hand. Mm-hmm. It goes hand in hand. Schools, plant more trees, plant more gardens, not brick, not more concrete, nor more parking spaces. Cover those parking spaces up with a screen of trees. Yeah. And it's students and employees. That's the thing. With a view of nature, either indoors, so bring those plants indoors and those houseplants in, or outside their windows, were not only found to be more productive, but also are more alert and attentive, more relaxed and in better moods, and less irritated by physical symptoms of allergies, asthma, and their counterparts who had no views of plant life or other natural settings. Mm-hmm. It brings you down. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're listening on a podcasting platform, please give us a review. 5 stars, what we're looking for. We've earned it. We hope. So again, we have in the studio a bunch of smaller houseplants, and it's a block that's maybe 18 inches by a foot. And that it's just enough. You don't need to have a gigantic, Polynesian fantasy of, a tropical jungle in your house, although it may get there. But you just need a few plants scattered around, and that it helps bring the levels of stress down. And it adds and it also improves the air quality of your home. Let's see. The last thing was here, and I am wearing my my Alzheimer's Walk T-shirt.
Mm-hmm. Looking good, by the way.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Fewer symptoms of dementia when dementia patients at an adult daycare facility became actively involved in gardening and landscaping activities. Their cognitive abilities improved, and there were fewer incidents of aggressive behavior. How about that? Mm-hmm. Anybody out there who is involved with a daycare facility, adult daycare facility, nursing home, assisted living, that we would like to be within our region, which is the Philadelphia, Delaware Valley area. We would like to get in contact with you, and that I would love for Bloomers to host for those that are lower on the spectrum or starting to just a workshop with houseplants where we're doing maybe a combination of houseplants in a little bit larger pot or something with dementia patients or early onset Alzheimer's patients and such. It is something that my late wife passed away from after battling it for 10 years. And it's close to my heart, but also the fact that it gives them something positive to do, and also that's something that they can bring home with them. And it does create that little environment. So reach out, call the hotline, let us know. We'd like to get involved with you with that. Julio, you be on board with that?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it'd be great.
All right,
the whole wellness aspect of the plants.
That's right. Any school teachers or also guidance counselor things that again, I'd be more than happy to discuss this with you further, and how maybe we can bring plants into your school, your classrooms, or somehow to make that environment a little more green. Yep. and a little less blocky. Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for this second. We're going to be coming up shortly with more about houseplants. And we're going to start about how do you start? Where do you put them? Like if you're brand new to bringing houseplants in, there's no reason to fear. No fear. We'll discuss that in the next segment. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden.
Are you looking forward to a spring of vibrancy while using the best organically approved growing media for your annuals and vegetables? Coast of Maine's Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter has been created to set a diverse culture ideal for germinating seeds and root cuttings. Created using the best ancient composting techniques and new age mixing devices, Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter gently combines kelp meal, worm castings, mycorrhiza, perlite, and sustainably harvested peat moss, establishing the most desirable setting to enhance new plant growth. Coast of Maine's Sprout Island Organic Seed Starter is available at these local retailers, or visit www.coastofmaine.com to locate one near you.
Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, PA. Ashcombs Farm and Greenhouses, Mechanicsburg, PA. Sickles, Little Silver, New Jersey. Wanting to up your game in the vegetable garden? With 90 years of organic gardening experience, the Espoma Company has you covered. Espoma Organic Garden Tone is not your average garden variety fertilizer. Garden Tone is especially blended for organic vegetable gardens. Its all-natural formula contains Biotone, a blend of organic ingredients that supplies essential nutrients for strong, healthy plants and mouth-watering vegetables. Its slow-release formula provides continuous feeding. The Biotone contained in Garden Tone is a combination of organic ingredients and beneficial microbes to help roots grow deeper and faster for bigger, more bountiful harvests. Garden Tone is simple to use and safe for people, pets, and the planet. No harmful chemicals or synthetic fertilizers are ever added. You can find Garden Tone at fine garden centers. Visit espoma.com to find a retailer near you. Garden Tone from Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. So, take 2 Aglaonemas, that's Aglaonemas, and call me in the morning. Go ahead, Dr. Len.
My favorite houseplant. That is my favorite houseplant.
It is, and we have one right here for you.
Yes, we do. There's different varieties. Easy to take care of. If you want to get started with houseplants, that's one that I would start with. Can take low light, can take more light, is forgiving if you don't water it all the time. But how do you know where to put plants? Well, don't run out and go buy some. Take a week and evaluate your home. You have to look. Here's a few things you need. Look, windows, right?
Oh, yeah,
you need to see, where does the sun come in? How much sun do I get? Do I get enough sun in that room, or do I keep the shades down all the time because I don't want the neighbors peering in my house?
Like you do.
Like, hey, I have to refurbish an old built-in pool that I keep my shades down on, so I don't see the pool that reminds me. It's like, hey, you got work to do. But anyway, there still is some light that comes through there. And that light is the most important thing, because the more light, the more diverse your plant palette can be. Beautiful. That a shade plant that likes shade and will tolerate shade will more than be happy in sun. But a sun plant is not going to be happy in the shade. So make sure you're looking to see where's those sunny spots. Is it in the bedroom? Is it in the bathroom? Bathroom is like the best place. Yeah. And that's because there's a lot of humidity in that bathroom. So every time you're taking a shower and things steam up, the plant's saying, the tropical oasis.
Yes, that's what I like.
This is where my people are from. So it makes it easier on you too, because you have a sink right there to water it.
That's right.
In the kitchen is a great place. And that's a great place for smaller plants. I personally have an air plant that is hanging from, the clasps when you shut the window and you have to lock the window, and it's that little clasp that you turn.
Right.
I have a wire connected to that's holding a pot where an air plant just sits there.
Nice.
That air plant's been there for like 7 years.
7 years.
And all you do with an air plant is every once in a while, like when you remember, like me, that you take it and you just run it under the running water in the sink and you put it back in. It's not like it has roots, and an air plant is just that. It's a type of plant where it naturally would grow in the tropics and like the crotch of trees. Even down south. Aaron, you're just in Atlanta.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
See any Spanish moss down there?
No.
Spanish moss?
I don't think I was looking for Spanish moss either.
Well, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
Spanish moss in like the Carolinas and down south. That is a type of air plant. So it's epiphytic. It just goes and it just is kind of like where some people think that it will root in to the trees that it's hanging from, but not necessarily true, not at all. So air plants, and they actually flower. At some point, they'll get a flower so it's something different. So an air plant is like the ultimate easy plant, but don't get too many. Don't go crazy.
Start off slow, huh?
It's, oh my gosh, I need one of them and one of them and one of them, and wouldn't that look cool if we put it in here? And how about that? And then all of a sudden, you get bummed out because your one plant's dying, or the next one or something because it's in the wrong spot, because it's not getting enough sun, or because it's not. If you get one or two plants to start with, you can play kind of checkers with them, where it's like, it doesn't work in this one, so I got to move it onto that space over there. And then this one's doing great, so I'm going to keep it right here. And then maybe if it's not doing there, maybe I'll move it into there. But just start off slow and just add to your collection. And that you can become the expert at peace lilies, but say you get an African violet and all of a sudden it's like, I kill every African violet I get, and I have a brown thumb, and my peace lily, all of a sudden then you think you have a brown thumb. There's no such thing as a brown thumb.
No, there isn't.
No such thing. There's no such thing even as a green thumb. All right. Aaron's got a brown thumb.
I do, for sure.
Anyway.
Yeah, you got a lot of plants, don't you?
Yeah, it does.
Come on now.
Any case, but not killer of plants.
Correct.
Grower of poinsettias.
Yeah, that's
February.
true. Absolutely.
So, but again, don't start off too quick, because you're going to have to get used to how to care for them. So check the amount of light transmission for each room, decide where you want to put it, make sure it's a well-trafficked area so you can get a glance if it's wilting down or there's something going on. And again, don't put them in a room where nobody goes. And there's nothing to be said, like, for instance, if you have guests over, that you go and you put a plant in their room just for the time that they're there, take it back, put it where it belongs. So it's not something where plants don't grow roots in your house. They're in pots, so they can be moved around, including outside during the summertime within reason. But that's another show. So in the next segment coming up, we're going to talk about basic care techniques like watering and things about that. And just to be patient. Again, trying to earn that plant, you're giving that plant a new home, and you need to have it adapt to your new home. We're going to talk all about that in this segment coming up next. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix with EcoPeat is the perfect ready-to-use potting mix for all your succulents. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix is a blend of sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and EcoPeat. EcoPeat is a natural wood fiber from peat bogs. When added to Fertilome peat moss, it produces a superior professional substrate with an exceptional ratio of air porosity and water holding capacity. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix will ensure maximum drainage with ideal water retention. It's simply the best succulent mix on the market. Ask for Fertilome by name at your local garden center. Available at Daniel's Garden Center, Sumneytown Pike, Harleysville, Pennsylvania. Gasper's Home and Garden, 316 Tanyard Road, Richboro, PA.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with the #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
If you're like me, then you absolutely love birds. The Bird Sanctuary at Bloomer's Home and Garden Center has you covered. They're dedicated to the care and feeding of wild birds of all sorts. Want to bring more birds to your yard? Then you got to see this place. Bloomers has a huge flock of feeders, birdhouses, birdseed, and much, much more. Want to feed the birds and not the squirrels? They have this absolutely cool bronze bird feeder that will drive those sneaky squirrels nuts. They'll be moving to the next door neighbor in no time. OMG. Bloomers have these absolutely adorable birdhouses that will turn your yard into the perfect bird B&B. They carry all types of wild bird seed, suet, seed cakes, and mealworms. Bloomer stocks Lyric, Coles, CNS, Pine Tree Farms, and much, much more that will keep those beautiful birds coming back for more. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center is located in Washington Township in Gloucester County. For more information and directions, check them out on the web at bloomers.com. Bloomer's Home and Garden Center, you got to see this place.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. We've got lots of plants. We've got lots of plants in studio with us. So if you want to go on our YouTube channel, you can go and take a look. Please subscribe. But before we make any plant recommendations, we talked about a couple. There are some basic things that you need to know. First of all, watering. And let's see if Julio can answer this question. Julio, for 100 points.
Ding, ding.
Is overwatering or underwatering more of a problem when it comes to your plants?
It is.
He's running for office now. He's a politician. If you'd like to vote for Julio.
Overwatering is probably the most critical thing that's been done because they think that's what it needs all the time.
All right. So as a politician and me, I guess, being the reporter, are you sure about that answer?
Yes.
Is that your final answer?
My final answer.
Correct. 100 points to Julio.
Ding, ding, ding.
Overwatering all the time. Like during break, Aaron and I were talking about, make sure people don't leave their saucers filled with water. And if your plant is dry, you can always water it. If your plant is wet, and it just isn't drying out, there's nothing you can do. It's not like you can wring it out like a sponge. I've tried that, but it doesn't work. And that water, you make sure you get a saucer for each one because sometimes you might have it on nice furniture. Sometimes you just, you have carpet or something like that where you don't want it to leak out. So always get a saucer for your plants. But if you go to your plant and there's water in the saucer, leave it go. Leave it go. I would check it the next day just to see if it's being absorbed. We have several growers who that's the way that they water is that they actually, it's called flood benches, where they flood the benches and they let the plants take the water from the holes in the bottom of the pot. And that's how they water the plant, not from the top down, from the bottom up. And one thing, just this applies also to outdoor plants where it cuts down on disease issues. And that next week, we're going to talk about hydrangeas and especially a brand new super duper hydrangea. Like getting hydrangea leaves wet in full sun is not a good thing. And it causes all kinds of disease issues. So back to watering. You want the soil to dry out before you water it. Let it go dry out. Index finger probe.
Yes.
That's
always.
it.
How easy is that?
Get your pointer finger, stick it in the soil. If it feels moist, leave it alone. If the soil is a darker color, like a dark brown, and you can tell that it's because it's moist, you leave it alone. If it looks like, ground up like Cocoa Krispies and it's like a tan, it probably needs water. Another method is pick it up. Decide by weight. When we're looking at in the greenhouse where we have hanging baskets, the way that we check to see if they need water is not by looking at the plant, but we physically pick up and feel the weight of the pot. The pots are all over our heads, and we can't see the soil. We can't know. So we pick up the pot, and if that pot feels heavy, we let it go. We don't water it. But if it feels light, we water it. So let them be dry. Plants are forgiving when it comes to wet and dry, because if it's dry, they'll forgive. Okay. Yeah. But when they're wet, it kills. Mm-hmm. Okay. So wet kills, dry forgives. Remember that.
Yeah. Let me ask you.
Yep.
When it's really limp, okay, you see all the leaves falling down, it's really super dry.
Like my plants?
Yeah. Now, you've seen that, right? We've seen
that. No, I have a peace lily, and then I wait till it wilts down before I water it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's maybe claiming torture, but but it's true. It's funny because during the Christmas to New Year's break, I'm sitting there, and this actually is in what we call our family room, and that peace lily wilted down like you're talking about. It was wilted down, and I watered it probably about an hour or two earlier.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, I see like the leaf was caught on a plant that was next to it, and all of a sudden the leaf starts bouncing because it was free from the other plant, and it actually, if you did a time lapse, you could actually watch it come back, back to, and they call that turgid.
Turgid.
There's a horticulture word. We throw them around just to show that we're smart. Or try to be. Anyway, but so when they're a little limp, but that's okay.
Okay.
We do. This is like the same message that we give to people about vegetable gardens. When they're like, especially like tomatoes and things like that. It's all right. They wilt a little bit, But certainly with most houseplants. Now, we also have here in the studio, we have a snake plant. Now, snake plant isn't going to wilt. But it can take it really dry. Okay. But we promised we weren't gonna talk about plants just yet. Right. Plants, when you bring them home, may get ugly. They're getting used to a new environment. Some of the things that we left out of the segment previous is that about how the problem with air ducts, like in heating, the way that you heat your house will affect your plants. So if you have your plants in that they're near a forced hot air vent, they're all of a sudden, they're going to dry out a whole lot quicker. And that it's just, you probably won't have any disease issues, but you're going to have problems with it as far as watering issues. You're going to need to water more often. Then if you move that plant to a different area, it's not going to need it. Now, when you bring your plants home from the garden center, and again, you're going to your local garden center.
The best place to get house plants.
It is. They know, they become your partner in care,
And we have a greenhouse that takes care of that also. I mean, as opposed to, let's say, a box store.
Yeah, I mean, box stores, they have them like, usually it's down like right before the doors to the, I know where they are in Home Depot because I spy a lot. It's usually like right before the entrance to the garden center across from where like the lawnmowers are.
Right.
And that there's actually a customer of ours. Oh, I'm going to get her fired. That she actually takes care of that department in Home Depot by us. And that she comes in all the time. She actually collects begonias.
Oh,
yeah, wow. and like not like wax leaf begonias, but some of the Rex begonias. Yeah. She always is looking for a new one. Anyway, going back to what we're getting at, when you bring it home from the garden center, that leaves may fall off, like ficus. Like they do that all the time. When you bring flowering hibiscus and you bring it in, like any of you that have brought your flowering hibiscus from outside indoors because it's warmer, as the weather got cold outside, you'll know that all of a sudden all the leaves fell off. Yeah. Don't be worried.
Don't panic.
Be worried. It is acclimating back to your conditions of your home. Light will be different. The humidity will be different.
Totally different.
And one thing to remember, humidity is a very important thing. That with that dry, hot air that's blowing on these plants, it's dry. It's like the desert. Mm-hmm. And it's not that tropical oasis where they're from. So you got to maybe you have to mist plants. Maybe my son Carl, he had a humidifier set up in his by all his plants.
Yeah,
so
he's mimicking the environment that they came from. Huh?
That's right. And so that's one suggestion. You could. There's so many weird like contraptions. Like this past Christmas, I mean, there's like air purifiers that are like now like the size of a pot.
Wow.
Yeah. Julio got a speaker the size of, 4x4 and it blasts them out of the house.
It's beautiful. And you can carry it anywhere you want.
And that these humidifiers are probably the same technology is kind of dumbed down. Now, it's got to have a well for the water to come out, but having it on a timer, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So again, your plants are going to change a little bit when you go from the actual purchase from the greenhouse or garden center and you bring them home. Don't leave them in the car. Okay, and go shopping. Okay, and think that that's okay because they're in a glass structure of your car. No, what happens? It gets cold in there. They can't freeze. So you got to keep them. Bring them. Have that your last trip, not the fact that you got to go do a 2-hour grocery shopping trip. So go to the garden center last and bring your plants right home. Move them around, and again, they may get ugly. Clean up the leaves, throw the leaves away, and just leave them alone so they can adapt for a while. They're getting used to their new surroundings. They're being adopted. So they're being adopted to a new home. So there's going to be things that you go through. Just relax. Right. It'll be okay. It'll be okay.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Anything to add, Julio?
Yeah, if you do panic, just call us.
Yeah, call the hotline. That's what it's there for.
Yeah, really.
Call the hotline. That number is 609-685-1880. And we will call you back and we'll talk to you directly. But leave a message because that's how it works. You leave a message, we call you back.
It's simple.
Yep. All right. We'll be back in the garden right after this. Hi, this is Len Schroeder from Bloomers in the Garden. Do you have a landscape, garden, or plant question? If so, call or text us using the Bloomers in the Garden hotline. Dial 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. Don't be shy. We want to hear from you. Call or text us and let us know what problems you're facing. Let us know how we're doing. Call or text 609-685-1880. If we use your comment on the air, we'll send you a free Bloomers t-shirt. Call or text us at 609-685-1880. That's 609-685-1880. And we'll see you in the garden. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix with EcoPeat is the perfect ready-to-use potting mix for all your succulents. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix is a blend of sphagnum peat moss, perlite, and EcoPeat. EcoPeat is a natural wood fiber from peat bogs. When added to Fertilome peat moss, it produces a superior professional substrate with an exceptional ratio of air porosity and water holding capacity. Fertilome Succulent Potting Mix will ensure maximum drainage with ideal water retention. It's simply the best succulent mix on the market. Ask for Fertilome by name at your local garden center. Available at Daniel's Garden Center, Sumneytown Pike, Harleysville, Pennsylvania. Gasper's Home and Garden, 316 Tanyard Road, Richboro, PA. Your next houseplant is waiting for you in Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse. Bloomers recognizes that houseplant choices are as important to your interior decorating as the fabric on your couch. The right plant, paired with the perfect container, can bring a dynamic change to your home. A houseplant brings life to your world and connects your home's interior to the greater outdoors. Even a small succulent placed on your coffee table has a way of connecting your living room to the Amazon rainforest. How about an air plant in your kitchen? Looking for an indoor flowering plant to add color to your plant palette? Bloomers has a large revolving assortment of flowering beauties. From Aglaonemas to ZZ plants, Bloomers Greenhouse is stocked with your next favorite indoor plant. Bloomers carries a large selection of pottery and containers to match your home's decor and make any of your plants more beautiful. Bloomers experts can help you care for your plants and have the fertilizer, insecticides, leaf shine, and specialty soils you need to grow healthy and happy indoor plants. Visit Bloomers Home and Garden Center's greenhouse and make every room in your home a living room. Visit bloomers.com for more information. That's bloomers.com, and we'll see you in the garden.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. You know, some of the most popular plants are small, but make a big impact, don't they, Len?
They surely do.
Yeah.
They surely do. We spoke about air plants earlier. Air plants are easy, obviously, to take care of, like a little bit more humidity. But again, they're tiny. They don't get to be big monsters. Fiddle leaf figs and Ficus benjamina and Monstera. Monsters. Monstera. I can get big. So those are something that maybe, you know, when you're first going, stay away from. But smaller plants like cactus.
Yeah, cactus.
Don't have to really worry too much.
No, matter of fact, you sometimes forget.
Yeah, that's right.
I go by and I go, oops, a month has been by and I haven't watered it yet.
And it's A-okay.
It's okay.
Succulents are the same way, that they don't need that, you know, that much water. They can survive without it. And that there's a new succulent that's coming out, and that it's amazing the colors that they have. It almost looks as if it's tipped in a pink velvet.
Wow!
So,
ladies out there,
I mean, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. So, a lot of different things on succulents. And that, again, they can be put in smaller spaces. So if you have an apartment or you have just one it on a windowsill or near a windowsill or just have a small shelf, the smaller plants are the way to go. The great big plants now, you know, you got to consider, you know, it's like getting a roommate. You know, the smaller plants, again, are maybe a way to go because you can also make a mixture. I had a very large pot. That it was actually a lemon tree. There's actually a lemon tree done now, but probably about 6 or 7 years ago, I had a lemon tree that was there and ended up, it died. I don't have a green thumb, and I'm guilty of killing plants. Plants, not
puppies.
That's right. And so what I did is instead of putting another big plant in there, I made it a little garden. So I put smaller plants in and put in probably 6 or 8 smaller plants and made it more of like a dish garden than a, great big, tropical plant. Yeah. So in like a mixed container. And the fun thing about small plants and even bigger plants is that it's decorating. Because you're using pottery with the plants. The plants themselves have colors and things. You're matching it to your decor. And that's something with a bigger plant, it's pretty dominant in a room. And we're talking something that can get as big as, 5 feet by maybe 2 or 3 feet. And that where smaller plants, you can do a different collection of pottery. You can mix them, you can match them, you can do different things. There's so much pottery that's available now that there wasn't just a few short years ago. That I tell you, it's something that you can add to your house that makes a huge difference aesthetically. And you'll have people come in, it's like, there's something different about your house. Yeah. And what it is, it's the plant in the pot. And the pots can be themed like, it can, if you've got a little quirky personality like myself, you can find the plants that like, that look like a head, and they have top part of their head is chopped off because the rest of it's the pot. You can put things like, string of pearls in it so it looks like hair, or you can put something that's in it like some of the succulents that look like it almost looks like grass. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of fun things you can do too.
Oh, yeah. We were listening this morning about on the radio when we were coming in about. Everything is sterile. Sometimes they're sterile and minimalistic and it's very simple. Plants, they warm that place right up, don't they?
That's right. And again, how we started the show talking about the psychological, benefits of plants.
Right.
It goes back to that, like that whole like chrome feel, futuristic feel, minimalist feel. I don't know. I think minimalists people are minimalists until they have grandkids, and then all of a sudden, Like they were saying, buy brown furniture.
I know.
All right. So again, smaller houseplants may be the way to go.
Yeah.
Don't buy the biggest thing in the greenhouse. Bring it home. Test some areas first, and you're trying to recreate the natural environment where that original plant came from. All right. We're going to be right back in the garden right after this. You know, some of our most frequent questions revolve around organic container gardening for houseplants, annuals, and of course, vegetables. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is a lightweight soil mixture made with salmon, blueberry, lobster, and other composts, as well as calcium and chitin-rich lobster shells, sphagnum peat, perlite, and kelp meal. It is a great soil. And Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Organic Potting Soil is rich in organic material, creating lush, disease-resistant plants that require less watering, less feeding. Its rich, dark brown color provides the perfect balance between water retention and drainage needed for healthy plants. Coast of Maine's Bar Harbor Blend Organic Potting Soil is available at these local retailers: Barlow's, Seagirt, New Jersey; Espen Shades Garden Centers and Greenhouse, Monton, Pennsylvania; Ashcombs Farm and Greenhouse, Mechanicsburg, PA.
Dreaming of a gorgeous garden? Give your azaleas, rhododendron, blueberries, and evergreens a powerful boost with the #1 acid-loving plant food, Espoma Organic Hollytone. Hollytone is a perfect blend of natural, long-lasting ingredients that nourish plants for stronger roots, faster growth, and bountiful blooms. Plus, it's easy to use and safe for people, pets, and planet. Visit espoma.com for a retailer near you and helpful gardening tips. Espoma, a natural in the garden since 1929.
Are you looking to reach an audience of over 12 million residents in the Philadelphia, Delaware Valley, and New York City Tri-State? Then consider becoming a broadcast sponsorship partner for Bloomers in the Garden. Every week on Bloomers in the Garden Radio, your products become associated with the authority in everything lawn, landscape, and garden. For more information on the Bloomers in the Garden Partnership Program, feel free to call the hotline 609-685-1880 or check out the radio tab at bloomers.com.
Welcome back to Bloomers in the Garden. I'm Len. He's Julio. Aaron's here. Sam's behind the glass. So you want to pick out the right house plant, but you know they have crazy names. So we're going to throw some at you that are great and easy to care for. And give you a little description of them. So Aglaonemas. All right, that is my favorite. For some reason, it's called Chinese evergreen. It doesn't look anything like a Chinese evergreen. It kind of looks like a houseplant. You know, it's like when you think, it's like, if I could picture a houseplant, what would it look like? And that's it. Big, wide leaves. But the newest thing, probably in the last 5 years, that they used to be green and gray, where it used to be like gray variegation and different types of gray, maybe gray spots. Now there's red varieties that they're not bright red, but they have like hues of pink in them. Low light situations, they do great. They're forgiving. So it's like, you know, we see it and you know you forgot to water it and you're saying, oh, I'm sorry, didn't water you. And it's like saying, it's okay. You know? And so it's one of those plants that's a great starter plant.
It is a great one.
Snake plant.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever you have your wife's family in, you can laugh because it's called mother-in-law's tongue. Very sharp and pointy.
It is.
And that snake plants are super easy. You know, I mean,
put them anywhere.
they look fake.
Yeah, they do.
You know, which is horrible to say, but they grow. All of a sudden, they grow, and they're in that again. It's an easy, super easy plant. And again, it's something that have you ever heard anybody killing a snake plant?
No, I haven't.
No, I haven't either. But again, it's going to want some light. So again, you're going to take that evaluation of your home and try to figure out like where the light is. I go back to Aglaonemas. It's like perfect. You know, bathroom plant. Between the two twin double sinks, or you know, up on a little shelf. All right, I'm going to get lost. Monstera. Monstera was huger than huge. Yeah. And like 2 years ago, there was a variegated Monstera that came out, which was, it was neat. but they get big and
It's too big.
no, I mean, this is like TikTok, I think, made the Monstera because there was Monstera Mondays, and that even my son Carl, I mean, he runs the nursery. He paid $200 for a cutting of a variegated Monstera.
Oh my gosh!
And he told me that. I said, "What?
Yeah, what happened?
You know, really?"
Yeah.
And so, and the worst part is, so it's a variegated Monstera, and so they were selling cuttings for $200 at the time. Prices have come down a bit, but it reverted back to green. So
no.
it's supposed to be, and again, that's a risk you take, you know. So
Shoot, I paid that for my whole 5 foot tall Monstera.
Yeah, right.
You paid that for a cutting?
she paid that for cut because it's the variegated variety.
Okay.
you know?
But that was back when.
2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
When it first started. Right?
Yeah, and you and I were at.
Oh yeah.
We were at the International Tropical Plant Show, and that we went and they showed that plant, and we voted it the #1 new product at the entire show, and that I guess it's our fault. But Monstera is easy to take care of. They just keep in mind they are going to grow, so don't. Which is a great thing, but it also means that the space that you give them, you've got to have the room for it. Spathiphyllum, that's also known as peace lily. Peace lily has been around forever. It is the green plant with the white flowers that come up. And the flowers, actually, it's like, are those white leaves or flowers? They have done some new things with them where they have a variegated foliage now, and that means that there's like a little gray in the leaves. So a little bit different, easy to take care of. Like I was saying before, like when you forget to water it, it wilts down, and then you water it, it'll pop back up. So it is forgiving that way. At least mine is. Then again, maybe it's plotting to kill me while I'm asleep on the couch. It's like, you torture me. But again, it's not something that it's again forgiving. You have seen these, like, do you remember a few years they had, and I hated this. They had betta fish in the bottom of the like in a bowl, and they had the peace lily on top of it. What? So it can take water. It can take a lot. It can take being overwatered. But I just hated that part. I just hated it. And it was, and again, it's because the whole concept, the fish go and poop that feeds the plant. It's the circle of life. Little Lion King here? No? Anyway. ZZ plant.
Oh yeah.
Super easy.
Super. Oh yeah.
Like that on the list. Like if you ever found a list online, like ZZ plant's going to be on the easy thing. Easy peasy ZZ. So ZZ plant. Think zebra. Pothos. Pothos is a trailing plant, and that again is super, super easy. It's going to trail. It's going to grow. So don't be afraid to cut it back. Don't fear the
shears.
Don't fear the shears. You cut it back.
Yes.
It's going to be fine. And they're easy to root. So you could, step up your game by rooting that pothos and starting a new plant. Peperominia, very similar.
Yep.
Prayer plant. If you look for prayer plant at your local garden center, you'll find those. They're very pretty. Stay smaller, a little bit more controlled. And it kind of, like, if you look at a small plant, prayer plant, they generally don't get more than say 6 by 6, maybe as much as 8 by 8.
Small. Big
Big leaves, but if you look at it, that's what it does.
About the leaf.
It does grow, but you can't tell because it just does it. Like it's not like where the new growth is a different color or anything like that. So but it is a great, easy plant. Dieffenbachia, you can put this next to your mother-in-law's tongue because Dieffenbachia, if you eat the leaves, it will paralyze your vocal cords.
Oh.
Here, Ma, try a taste of this.
I knew he should have married that other man.
Anyway, so Dieffenbachia, it is safe, but it has that with it. But it's very cool. It does get to be tall, but doesn't get real wide. Where Monstera, it gets wide. Just saying. String of pearls, we mentioned earlier. There are now string of pearls, string of dolphins, string of turtles. It looks like threads with things on them. Like the pearls look like that, just little round like peas. Great house plant. Great hanging plant, gives you some verticalness where you would set a hook and then hang it. So mostly in hanging pots.
Very good.
Ivy, ivy's great. Ivies that for the house, they will hang and that they add a dimension and the pot will be full, but it's still, and again, don't fear the
shears.
Just cut it back if it gets a little big. And parlor palms. Palms are, instead of being that like great big palm that gets put around pools, this is something that retains its size, respects, its size, and can be on a coffee table or can be on an end table or something like that. It's in the parlor. Mm-hmm. Anybody use parlor? My Aunt Eva used to say, "Oh, I put it in the parlor." And I was wondering what that was. I thought it was a bar when I was little. I was like, she has a bar, a speakeasy in her house because it's in the parlor. But then again, now it's a naive young lad. All right. Try any of those and you'll have great success. Again, if that list went by too fast, and we've been told that we'd sometimes talk too fast.
Too fast.
We're from the Northeast. I'm sorry. But what happened is that you can go on any podcast provider and just type in search Bloomers in the Garden and we'll pop up. Or again, better yet, look at it on YouTube, and then you can see the plants we have in studio, and then you can see our smiling faces. All right, we'll be right back in the garden right after this. Coast of Maine's Organic Castine Blend Organic Raised Bed Mix is the best soil for raised bed gardens, planter boxes, and container gardens. It grows amazing vegetables. It is made with a mixture of manure compost, worm castings, lobster and kelp meal, mycorrhiza, green sand, and biochar. It's ready to use straight out of the bag with no need for additional components or tilling. If you love growing fresh and hearty vegetables, herbs, and flowers, Coast of Maine's Castine Blend Organic Raised Bed Mix is the perfect choice for you. At Coast of Maine, we believe in growing organically and buying locally. Castine Organic Raised Bed Mix can be found at these fine stores.
Pickering Valley Feed and Farm, Exton, Pennsylvania. Ashcombe Farm and Greenhouses, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Tony's Farm and Garden, Windsor, New Jersey.
I ain't as good as I once was.
It's Julio's birthday tomorrow.
Oh my gosh.
Happy birthday, Julio.
Thanks,
I hope
appreciate
your
it.
day is great.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, everybody out there, for listening. We'll be right back here in the garden next week. We'll see you in the garden.
We'll see you in the garden.